Real estate is indeed a unique asset class. It is one of those asset classes that when you understand it, it allows you to build wealth in a much shorter period of time. Today, I want us to do a deep dive into real estate as that unique asset class. So today we will examine real estate from the standpoint of it's giving you daily, weekly, and monthly cash flow. Two, we will also examine real estate from the perspective of natural and forced asset appreciation. Last but not least, we will look at real estate from the standpoint of equity and smart investment leverage. Now, for those who might be joining me for the first time, do permit me to introduce myself. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the self-published best-selling author for several books, including Billionaire Codes and Manager's Toolkit. My last book is titled 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint, Business Ecosystem. Now let's get straight into it. Real estate, without a doubt, is a unique asset class. And of course, owning real estate is a capital intensive exercise. Of course, there are going to be millions of persons around the world that will be saying to themselves that it's hard for them to acquire real estate asset. It is hard when you don't have the right information. Now, if you want to have the right information in terms of steps that you can take to start to acquire real estate and leverage real estate to build wealth, I want to encourage you to reach out to Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York. They are a team of subject matter experts there that are willing to mentor, coach you, and give you the support to start to build wealth. Now, let's begin this analysis of looking at real estate as a unique class. One of the things that I begin by saying is that real estate provides you an opportunity to get daily, weekly, and monthly cash flow. And I guess you're asking, how can this happen? Now, one example that I want to give you is that I want to see yourself as owning a single family unit or a multiple family unit, and what you're providing is long-term rental. The main fact that you have that single family unit or a multiple family unit and you're providing long-term rental, it simply states that you are leveraging your real estate or can leverage your real estate for monthly income cash flow. So that's one example. A second example is that you own a single family unit or a multiple family unit, but instead of offering the public long-term rental, you offer them short-term rental. Now, it is from this short-term rental that you're able to earn hourly rates or daily rates. And it's important to understand this as you focus on developing the business cash flow statement. If you need support in this regard, again, do feel free to reach out to Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branding and Marketing LLC out of New York. Now, the other aspect that I want us to look at now is what we call force and natural appreciation. Now, what does exactly does this mean? Now, here again, I want you to see yourself as owning a piece of real estate. That real estate could be land, and it can also include building on the land. But let's look at it from the standpoint that you own a piece of land. That is real estate. So forced appreciation takes place when you now decide to put a building on that land. It could be a single family unit, or it could be multiple family unit. By simply doing this, you're forcing the value of, which is the appreciation value of that real estate up. Of course, there are multiple of things that you can do to drive the value of that real estate up. For example, you can add more value by putting a school onto that land, putting a recreational park onto that land, perhaps put in things like a health center onto the land, depending on the strategic location that you're at. You can also focus on perhaps an entertainment hub or fitness gym. All of these things are things that you can do to add value to the land and by extension, force the value of that real estate up. At a later date, we'll go deeper into this analysis to really help you to do the calculation, the financial calculation of how this appreciation process really works. So far we looked at daily, weekly, and monthly income cash flow. We also look at force and natural appreciation. Let's look a little bit now at natural appreciation. Now, natural appreciation occurs naturally, and this can only occur over a long period of time. Perhaps it might be 1 year, 2 year, it might be 3 year, 5 year. It occurs depending on where you're at over a longer period of time. So we can say natural appreciation will represent both the force appreciation and the natural appreciation that will occur over a longer period of time. Now, what force appreciation also means is force or natural appreciation means is that you have parked capital. And here is where the next concept comes into play. Because you now have parked capital, meaning that you have asset equity value that is parked, that is not being utilized because you now have force and natural appreciation. As an investment banker, as an asset manager, you have to ask yourself, how can you take out this equity? How can you up-level this equity to build more wealth? So that now brings you to the next concept, which we call equity and smart investment leverage. Now, as we think about the equity leverage, as we think about smart investment leverage, I want to bring your attention to something which we call HELOC, the home equity line of credit. And this is important for me to say this, because as you build equity through natural and forced appreciation, you now have the equity. Now, equity leverage, in this case, we're going to call it the HELOC or the BLOC, home equity line of credit, or the business equity line of credit, is completely different from a business loan. Now, this is clearly established in the developed world. Perhaps in developing and middle income economy, there needs to be greater clarity and policy framework to govern the realities that surround HELOC, BLOC, and what we call a home mortgage and the business loan. Now, just let me explain a little bit more. Normally, when you go into the bank to leverage your asset to take a loan, that loan in itself, because it is a loan, it is subject to what is known as amortization collateralization debt. So it becomes an amortized collateralized debt. I don't want to get into the technical presentation here, but just for clarity, amortized, collateralized, compounded debt simply means that your interest is calculated at the beginning of the year for the entire year. All right, your interest is calculated that way. What is different about the HELOC and the BLOC, which is the equity line of credit, it is calculated on simple interest. Simple interest simply means that as the principal balance comes down, the cost of that debt comes down the same way. So it simply means that the cost that you're paying for the equity line of credit is much lower than the business loan that has a fixed interest rate. And it's important for you to know this, because what I'm talking about here, as you are able to leverage your estate to not only look at daily, weekly, monthly cash flow, but to build up the appreciation value of that estate, you now want to leverage the equity in that estate you want to leverage it against what we call HELOC, which is simple interest rate. Now, I trust that today's program, of course, we have been briefed, but understanding this can make a significant difference in your life. Now, I did say at the beginning that home ownership, estate ownership is capital intensive, and the average person out there sees the difficulties in acquiring your home. I want to say this to you again. Reach out to us at Global Capital Inc. and 10X Branded and Marketing LLC out of New York, and we will be so happy to give you the mentorship, the guidance, and the support to ensure that you can now start to access estates and leverage estates in order to build wealth. Be blessed and see you in the next broadcast. In the event you're joining me for the first time, do remember my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the self-published best-selling author for several books, including Manager's Toolkits and Billionaire Quotes. My last book is titled 10X Branding and Marketing Blueprint Business Success Ecosystems. If you like this program, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share. So you will be the first to get this program that we bring it to you on a regular basis. Be blessed and see you in the next broadcast.